A Chinese satellite mysteriously recently shattered in space, and now we may know why. Morgan McFall Johnson, Business Insider, reports on Science Alert. The Chinese satellite mysteriously broke apart in March, scattering into dozens of pieces. Now, a Harvard astronomer discovered what likely happened. It seems to have collided with a chunk of a Russian rocket, space debris that is. He says this looks to be the first major confirmed orbital collision in a decade. This is what Jonathan McDonald, who spotted the probable crash in a data log from U.S. Space Force, said on Twitter. Space Force sensors detected new debris from the breakup of the Chinese satellite called Wanhai 1-02 in mid-March. Wanhai 1-02 launched in 2019, so it was relatively young and should have been in good condition, enough shape not to fall apart on its own. No verdict about the cause was ever announced, but the Space Force did quietly update its space debris catalog with a new hit on Saturday. Object 48078, a piece of a Russian Zenit 2 rocket that launched in 1996, is now listed with a peculiar note. Collided with satellite is what it said. McDowell spotted that new listing and shared it on Twitter, and he went back through the original orbital data, found that the Russian rocket chunk and the Huanhui satellite passed within 1 kilometer, that's 0.6 miles of each other, at the exact time and day that Wanhai broke apart. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. That passing distance is within the margin of error. Both objects would have been zipping around Earth faster than a bullet, so any contact would result in an explosion of debris. The crash created 37 known bits of debris, according to McDowell, though he added that there are probably more uncatalogued pieces floating around out there in space. It does not look like the collision was catastrophic, McDowell said, since the Wanhai satellite has made several orbital adjustments since March, indicating that China can still control it. He said it's a moderately big deal. It shows that these smaller, non-catastrophic collisions are becoming a thing. We will see more and more of them in the future. Now, the dangers of space debris. The last time 2 large objects orbiting Earth crashed into each other was in 2009, when a defunct Russian military satellite careened into an active iridium communications satellite above Siberia. And that collision, along with a prior one in 2007, increased the amounts of large debris in low Earth orbit by about 70%. There have been several false alarms and close calls since then. A dead Soviet satellite and a discarded Chinese rocket body sped past each other in space in October, after orbital models suggested that they are at very high risk of colliding. And in January 2020, a dead space telescope and an old U.S. Air Force satellite beat alarming odds of crashing over Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In both incidents, nobody could control the satellites to avoid their collision. Already, nearly 130 million bits of space junk surround the Earth, from abandoned satellites, spacecraft that broke apart, and other missions. That debris travels at roughly 10 times the speed of a bullet, which is fast enough to inflict disastrous damage to vital equipment, no matter how small the pieces are. Such a hit could kill astronauts on a spacecraft, of course. And we have images of space debris hit to Space Shuttle Endeavour's radiator, found after one of its missions. The entry hole is about 0.25 inches wide, and the exit hole is twice as large. Now, every time objects in orbit collide, they can explode into new clouds of tiny chunks of high-speed debris, of course. It's like billiard balls, right? In fact, the piece of debris that hit the Chinese satellite may have broken off of the original Russian rocket in an earlier collision. McDowell said, "That's all very worrying, and it's an additional reason why you want to remove these big objects from orbit." McDowell said this, which first reported his discovery. He says they can generate this other debris that's smaller. Experts expect more near collisions like this if nobody removes all these dead satellites and old rocket bodies from space. But how are they supposed to catch the tiny debris that's out there already? Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.